Okay, we'll get started. There may be a few more people coming in, but unfortunately they'll miss the introduction. So thanks for joining. This is a kick-off again with the Watco webinars. We did run a couple throughout COVID, so we're going to try and make this more of a regular feature, focusing on some of the different subjects that come up from our customers quite often. I'm Chris. Today we've got Scott Saunders as well. So we've got a subject of how to get the best floor with Watco. We've had a couple of questions sent through to us already, which we're leaving to the end. So if you've got any questions that you think of or already prepared, please do just pop them on the chat. My colleague will pick them up and we can go through those at the end as well. So thanks for your time. Hopefully you'll find it useful and get some interesting information out of it. So we'll start with it. So we've got just a couple of points to run through. So we've got the background of Watco and who we are, and then 3 steps of how to create a well-maintained floor throughout repairing, preparing, and then painting surfaces. Quick recap with some products, and then we'll go on to the Q&A session. As I said, my name's Chris Budd, UK Sales Director. I've been with Watco almost 17 years, most of the time within sales and products, with a couple of years within the marketing department as well. And today with myself, we've got Scott.
So yeah, I've been with Watco for approximately 13 years and the UK Sales Manager.
So who's Watco and what do we do? Hopefully most of you, our customers, or have certainly been in contact with us previously. We're a leading brand and manufacturer of high quality, very high standard products for repair products and paint coatings. We specialise in the toughest, most hard wearing products, and looking at different areas of use of industrial paint coatings. We've got an in-house chemist based on our manufacturing site that is purely working on the Watco products on a daily basis, looking to ever increase durability, value for money, and moving towards in the future better sustainable products for the environment as well. Most of the products that we introduce to the range is feedback from customers, so asking for quicker drying products, harder wearing products, different colours, etc. So we're always taking feedback from customers into mind as well. Watco's been a well-established company for over 90 years. The head office based down in Guildford in Surrey, and our manufacturing plant as well as the distribution centre is just south of Newcastle. We have other branches throughout Europe as well, one in France and Germany, and from the 3 bases we also service Ireland, soon to be Belgium, Poland, and looking to ever expand as well. So wherever you are, if it's mostly UK based, obviously we can supply quickly the correct products. But if you have jobs, services, or any projects throughout Europe or the rest of the world, then we can certainly help with those and distribute out as well.
So when it comes to floors, there's sort of various main areas around your sort of commercial building. This is just a quick sort of rundown of those. So floor paints, you know, Watco well renowned for our very sort of sturdy and tough coatings, epoxy resins, polyurethanes, etc. So yeah, certainly floor paints is what we do. Outside of that, and outside of the building, car park paints, we have a very strong solvent-based supermac epoxy resin coating, as well as various line marking systems as well, coatings wise. We've got industrial floor coatings, so really sort of specialist coatings, be it sort of chemical resistant, damp proofing, things like that, which are sort of what we get asked for daily, and again what we're known for. Moving on from that, also got step safety. So we have a whole range of GRP products, from step covers to nosings to decking strips, which are very easy to apply, simply screw into the substrate solutions. Or moving on to the coatings, again, there's various coatings which are aimed at steps, particularly with larger grits and more heavier duty hard wearing surfaces to deal with kind of very focused, footsteps that you're going to get on steps. Again, line marking, we have tapes, we have very heavy duty PVC thick tapes, even to take forklift traffic. Outside of that, again, coatings, which would be, again, very durable, either anti-slip or smooth line marking systems, fast drying, that sort of thing. And then lastly, concrete floor repairs. So again, it's our Concrex range, our Flow Patch range, our Flow Top ranges. They were all very much designed with time in mind to get your commercial building back into use quickly, with concrete repairs, so that we can keep things running smoothly.
So the main question of this is, why is regular maintenance important to anyone? It may be a building owner, you may be a contractor based on site, estate manager, estate management company, and generally the most important reasons for regular maintenance is to reduce slips, trips and falls. We've had some independent research carried out, and over a third of all reported non-fatal major injuries within the workplace are based on a slip, trip or a fall. And just over 1 million working hours on average are lost due to slips and trips, just on their own without those ones. So having a look around the premises on a regular basis is really important, and hence we'll go through today the offerings throughout the range for the repair products to obviously help reduce any trips on the floor, and slips with our anti-slip range as well. So well-performing floor should be long-lasting, clearly marked areas, and easy to maintain as well. The last thing that we want is going on to a product or a situation where it can't be maintained and you have to then go on and do further work to it. So starting with repairing of floors, concrete floors are tough, but everything breaks down no matter what type of concrete you have, be it really dense, hard wearing, power floated concrete, even to the older tamped poured concrete surfaces as well. They all do break down over time. Forklift traffic, weathering, be it inside, outside, and then the heavy movement of traffic, be it forklifts, pallets being dragged across the surfaces, HGV turning circles, and areas like that. And then a badly maintained floor, it obviously gives a poor impression, both to your own staff members or staff working on site, as well as customers or potential customers as well. Motivation of staff working in a rundown operational area, of warehouse, a factory or something like that, obviously sometimes contributes to demoralizing people.
Mm-hmm. And with that as well, I think it's quite keen to. It gets worse, doesn't it? That's the thing. If you've got damage, if you've got things that are wearing down, it's only going to get worse. The longer you leave it, the more costly and the more likely there is going to be of those slips.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also there's other factors that adds to cost as well. So increase costs for maintenance of handling equipment. So be it your pallet trucks or forklifts going over areas, if they're constantly banging up against potholes, a complaint from most of us around the local areas where you may live as well, the damage to vehicles, but also the potential claims from staff members as well. Forklift truck driver constantly going over potholes could lead to bad backs. It then also potential of people slipping and tripping onto the floors as well. So we've got some points here that can happen and that should be checked on a fairly regular basis, and using the fairly generic term of regularly, because depending on how heavy trafficked area is or the size of your building, you might have to be walking around the whole building every day, and obviously just keep an eye out for those checks. But if it is quite a large premises or you're not on site all the time, just take the time just to have a look around, even in the nooks and crannies of the corners and edges. But what you should be looking out for is obviously any trip or slip potentials. So that's breaking up of concrete, and a good sign of that is loose aggregate on the floor or dust in the localized areas. And the cleaning of the surface. So is it still easy to clean on a bare concrete surface? Even mops or your push along cleaners can deteriorate the surface and break down the concrete surface, taking that top protective layer off. And then once it starts to go, then the area will deteriorate a lot quicker. Also checking before painting as well. Obviously you're going to be putting the time and effort into painting a surface, so it is well worth ensuring that the surfaces are repaired prior to that. So we've got a few examples of some different types of damages on the concrete surfaces, and again some of them do roll over to deteriorating of asphalt as well. So you could have just general damage to the surface, so just over years of constant traffic going over the same areas in a warehouse or similar areas, and that would just wear down, and generally you get sort of tram lines or traffic lines where the tires or wheels are going along all day every day. Rough and uneven surfaces, so tamped concrete, not so much now, but used to be very popular with the ridges within it, and obviously the high spots can wear down a lot quicker, showing the aggregate within it. And once that starts to blow or to deteriorate, then it gets quicker and quicker. Even power floated surfaces, a lot harder to break down because they've got a high density finish to the top of it. But if you've had equipment in one area situated and then moved, then you might have holes within it because of moving of poles or bolt holes and things like that. And steps as well. So almost every concrete or old concrete surface staircase that you're going up in, the prefabricated ones are always missing chips and knocks on the step edges as well. So again, we've got products to be repairing those. Exposed joints, so expansion joints, day joints, movement joints, whatever the term phrase that you might want to use, they are generally there to help prevent further cracks and damage within concrete with the slabs moving due to subsidence or little movements within water tables and things like that. But joints do break up, constant traffic going over it quite easily, so they do need to be maintained. Again, as soon as that loose aggregate starts to go, then it will deteriorate and break up even quicker. And then we've obviously got some pothole looking ones, so some deeper holes, broken up areas around such as guide rails that we've got down here as well. That could be door thresholds or anything like that. And then gouges and raised edges throughout the concrete surfaces. So again, years of movement of heavy equipment do take chunks out of concrete surfaces. So we've got, again, various products, be it pourable, mortars, fine fillers, etc., for any type of damaged concrete surface. Chips and scratches can be easily filled with some of our epoxy repair mortars. or we have finer ones which are made up of pastes or liquids as well. And they're very easy to apply, which is a basis and a brand value of Watco, that all of our products are easy to mix and apply. Cracks and joints, again, if that is just a standard movement crack or an expansion joint that's broken down and delaminated, we have both epoxy products, pourable products, two-part polyurethane products or polyaspartic products that still give a bit of flex within the surface. So if those slabs do move with a new joint in, then that will flex with it as well. And then it's not just about damaged edges or potholes. It is just general wear and tear where you may want to smooth out or resurface the concrete as well. So it's always best to be dealing with the actual holes in the surface first, and then putting an overlayment, commonly known as a screed, over the top of the surface. And what is important, especially with heavy traffic, there's many screeds, latex screeds, etc., out there on the market, but just to make sure that you are asking for a wearing screed rather than a non-wearing screed, which is generally just an underlayment for carpets, carpet tiles, ceramic tiles, etc. It really is important to be looking at a wearing screed is the biggest term that's to be asking for. So a couple of examples of the products that fit the requirements for some of those issues that we talked over. So Flow Patch there on the top left. I mean, the top three are our best sellers, but they're all easy to use and used for different varying areas. So the Flow Patch is product cementitious, mixed with water, pourable and versatile, where you can just use as much or as little as the pack as you require. It's grey in colour as standard, but we do offer some other colours to match in with existing coloured screeds, a green, red, blue and a stone. And then we also do a black version of it as well to blend in with any asphalt surfaces you may have. Best thing about this product, the Flow Patch, working time is quite short, about 10-15 minutes. So always mix it at the area where you want to repair. But it would take forklift traffic or heavy traffic, HGVs, cars, etc., after just 2 hours as well. So it's an extremely quick repair product.
It's quite alarming how quickly it goes off, isn't it?
It is, yeah. A lot of companies talk about how quick, how good their products are. Flow Patch is certainly the example to be using for the speed of cure on those products. Concrex in the middle is the longest standing Watco products. That's a two-part epoxy mortar. We've added, a couple of years ago, we added carbon fiber strands into it just to improve the strength and durability of that product, and we call it a permanent repair, and it's almost indestructible as well. And Flow Top there on the top right is a resurfacer. We comes all within the one pack with two different primers, the powder content and the liquid additive, so it's all you need within the one pack. And the Flow Top has fiber strands within it as well, not carbon fiber, but just standard strands within it, which increases the strength, and it is purely a wearing surface. So even at 5 millimeters, it will take forklift heavy traffic and can be painted or left as a wearing finish as well. And then we've got a few products just down at the bottom for your joints and cracks. Bottom left, fine crack filler for any movement joints, and that is a absolutely solid, rigid product once cured. And to the right hand side, we've got floor joint sealant, which is a two-part polyaspartic product, which is flexible. So any expansion joints where the slabs are moving, refill the expansion joints with this product. It's very quick curing, can go down to minus temperatures, and will remain flexible as well. So if I haven't bored you enough on the repairs, I'll pass you over to Scott with the preparation products.
Excellent. Yeah, on to repairs. Yeah. So it's all in the preparation, as we all know. I mean, I can't stress enough, day to day, the phone calls we get coming in of people who have previous coating with issues, and they need to repair and and recoat that area. It all comes down to contamination, be it chemicals, grease, dust, oils, things like that, you know, and they're the things that are going to go wrong. So it is very, I can't say it enough, it is all in the preparation. So yeah, some simple steps, quite obvious really. First thing to do is make sure it's clean. We do have various cleaners for this purpose, but it really is make sure, you know, as it says on here, stiff broom, paying attention to areas, you know, where dirt, debris is going to collected, giving it a really thorough clean, jet washing, that sort of thing, just to remove as much as possible to give you coating the best chance of staying down. Got on here, obviously, once you've used our cleaning products, something again, it's some people do go wrong with, a little top tip is once you've washed the floor and scrubbed away all this dirt, you need to get rid of it. It does need to be removed, as you know, it does need to be washed away, because obviously if you just let the stuff dry back on the floor, it is still there. You've just got it wet, you've moved it around, and it's still dirty, so it does need to be removed. Another very common one is to have issues with surface latents, i.e. a dusty surface. We do a product for that, a special cleaning product, which will etch the floor as well as clean the floor. So it's got chemicals in it which will disrupt that dusty surface, break it up so you can again wash that away. Is the coin test. So once you've done all the washing, it's full dry, you should be able to scratch the floor and nothing's removed. There's no more dust, and that's when you're ready for a paint coating to go on, when you can't remove anything.
And as Scott said, I'd certainly emphasise the point, you don't want to be spending hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds on high quality paint. Preparation isn't complete, which is actually a very small cost in comparison to the actual top finished paint coatings. It's sometimes a waste, unfortunately. So certainly the preparation is absolutely key. Sorry, slight technical issue here.
Yeah, bear with. But yeah, so I'll just go back over that point. If we do get customers, you know, having issues with paint coming up and delamination and things like that, that is always, you know, the key number one teller is to ask the customer to have a look on the back of the paint that's lifting, and whether you can see dust, debris and things like that on the back of the paint that's lifted. And that's kind of a key indicator really that it was the substrate underneath that was weak and dusty, because it's basically been painted onto something that's dusty and weak. So yeah, it's a very key point. How are we looking?
So we're just struggling a little bit on there with different types of floors, so sorry about that. Scott, sorry, please carry on.
No problem. Technology, eh? So different types of floors. So this just to sort of give you some idea of different, you know, types of floors that you probably are looking at in your commercial building. So sort of dirty or oily floors. Again, we do have products to help with the cleaning and preparation of this. So typically it would be a case of either handling it two ways. Either first is cleaning it away from the surface, because obviously there's oil right down deep in a floor. It's not necessarily an issue, it's just when it's quite near the surface. So it's cleaning off that top layer. Or the other way of dealing with it is sort of specialist primers that we sell, which are oil-based primers. So they almost sort of cure with the oil in the floor, if that makes sense. So that's that one. A new concrete floor. I mean, new concrete floor obviously will still be green, will still be wet, so they do need to be left to dry out. This typically is anywhere between sort of 6 to 12 weeks. It needs to be less than 5% moisture content or 95% relative humidity. Which and obviously once that has dried out, goes back to the previous thing about dust and latents. It will have a dusty latent surface on there, so that will need to be removed too. Power floated floors, more and more common these days. Very sort of hard mirror-like finish, which normally paint coatings won't stick to very well. So we have developed a special primer, which is unique in the market, called Power Float Primer, which is a very sticky epoxy paint, which will basically stick to your power floated floor, and then you can then paint over the top with a nice hard wearing surface over the top. Also, what we tend to do as well on larger area sizes, anything over sort of 300-400 square meters, is really recommend an extra bit of preparation, which would be shot blasting, because that's what they get a machine and they shot blast the floor to give you the best surface, basically making it not power floated. So that's that one. Can be a bit tricky, power floated floors. So if you do hear people talking about power floated floors and specs and things like that, you know, you can't just paint them. There is some prep work there, or special primers. Well bonded paint's a very common one. So that, you know, it's obviously been painted previously. It's now wearing down, so it's always a case of loose flaky stuff needs to be removed, a really good clean, and then just thoroughly abrading with sanding, that sort of thing, to get a key on the previous well bonded paint, just so the new coating's got something to adhere to, something to key into. Next one we've got there is rough or uneven floors. We do a really good self-leveling product for this to smooth that out. I mean, typically if you just paint an uneven floor, again with that tamped finish you can see there in that picture, it does tend to, as Chris mentioned earlier, to wear on the high spots. So really, ideally, you want to kind of level that out with a self-leveler first. Take into consideration again what Chris said earlier, is the fact that, you know, not all self-levelers you can just paint. So you know, make sure it's one, and we do have one product called Flow Top. So, but we'll get onto that. But yes, that's a good one. Damp or wet floors. So quite a common thing we get is where people have got basements, plant rooms, things like that, where they've got possibly no DPM in the floor, damp-proof course in the floor, and they've got moisture rising up through the floor, damp issues, things like that. And we do have a few products for that, basically to seal the floor, stop that rising damp coming through. Again, you know, that does need a special primer, basically a special primer before you can put a top coat down. Shot blasted floors, that's your kind of your ideal, really. If you turn up to a site and they've got a nice shot blasted floor, it is simply a case of one of our primers down, depending on which sort of top coat you're going to go with. It depends what primer you're going to use. But yeah, primer, top coat, that's easy, because you know, because it's been shot blasted, that they've taken the top layer off. There's no contamination. You've got a nice porous surface, and it's all ready to go. Weak or porous floors, they tend to be, again, loose surface. Quite a simple one with that is a concrete sealer. Literally pour on the floor, broom into the surface, binds it all together and strengthens it, just to give you a tougher surface, basically. So that's those.
Brilliant. We've had a couple of questions come through already. So if any of this has sort of jogged a thought or a memory or anything like that at all, where you want to ask any questions on a particular surface, then please feel free to send through any of the questions on the chat, and we'll pick those up at the end.
Great. So yeah, so what can go wrong? Yeah, I mean, absolutely, delamination is the main one. You know, the paint will come away. This again could be from the things we've already talked about. It could be because it was power floated and the proper preparation hasn't been done. It could be dusty. There could be previous contamination, oil, grease, that sort of thing. We get a lot from certain types of, like, butchers, sugar. Anywhere where there's sugar can be an issue. What else is there? There's
milk as well. We deal with lots of dairies, so
dairies.
Any types of contamination. Car garages.
Yeah, it's another one.
We have areas of warehouses where there's forklifts, so forklift battery charging areas where the acid is dripped out and things like that.
So yeah, so all of those can, you know, lead to delamination. Other things can be even just you know, the color of the coating being affected by chemicals, again, battery rooms, that sort of thing, causing sort of staining, that sort of thing. So yeah,
Excellent. So moving on to the different types of cleaners and primers. So Scott's alluded to a few that we have within the range, and what areas can be actually coated. So generally we say any concrete or asphalt surface can be coated, but it really is down, as we've emphasised already, and we get a bit bored of it, but the preparation. So do contact us or send us any photos of the surfaces. It's a really good guide to what the type of surfaces at the current time and what you're looking to achieve. So dirty or oily floors, we have the degreasers BioD, and we have a stronger emulsifying degreaser called Concroft. Oily floors, then once it's cleaned and prepared, we've got oil block primer. So it's a 2-pack epoxy, which then locks the remaining oil into the surface. Generally, once you cleaned an oily surface, the osmosis takes place and the oil starts to rise back up and pushes any new coating off of the surface. With the oil block primer, as per the name, it does lock it into the actual concrete surface, and then you apply your new coating on top of that. And for the new concrete surface, the pink liquid down there on the right hand side is Etch and Clean. So it's a hydrochloric acid which burns away the top latents of any concrete surface and opens up the porosity, allowing the primers to then be applied on top of that. So for new concrete, we have new concrete primer, or for a cold area, rapid set areas, etc., we have various products for that as well. And parafloated surfaces, as Scott was saying, very smooth, non-porous, very hard to generally get coatings to bond to that. But over the years, we've got a parafloat primer, as well as some clear sealers in gloss and matte finishes as well, which do adhere well to the parafloated surfaces. And painted and sealed areas as well. If you're just looking to spruce it up or change the layouts of walkways or anything like that onto a painted surface, we've got various cleaners which won't react with existing paint, or we've got other primers that will help bond onto smooth, non-porous painted coatings ready to coat as well.
Step 3. So yeah, so you want to make sure that you're using the right paint for the job. There's so many different types. There's so ones that we do, whether it's indoors, outdoors, whether it needs to be anti-slip or smooth, and what kind of traffic it's going to need to take. Those are the main key things that when I teach my team what they need to ask, they're the main kind of questions we start off with. But from there's so many different variables. So here we've got a basic overview of some of the types of floors, epoxy resin, polyaspartic, acrylic. So I'm just going to go into a bit more detail on the next slide. Thank you. So yeah, polyurethane. So the Watco concrete floor paint is a single pack polyurethane paint, which we've been selling forever. Comes in a smooth or an anti-slip finish. Also comes in a matte finish. And we've recently expanded the range so it can be matched to pretty much any round color as well. So yeah, it's very diverse, very hard wearing. It can be used inside or outside. Historically, we always said inside, but now you can use it outside as well. It's really tough paint. It's you know, its limitations really are car traffic and vehicle traffic, forklifts, things like that. You know, it is really up to a pump truck, you know, like a pull along pump truck, that sort of level. It's absolutely fine with picking areas, factories, that sort of thing. More than capable. Our epoxy resin paints, which most people know us for. So epoxy resin, I'm sure most of you know this, is obviously a 2-pack system. So it's, you know, typically our ones are in a tall tin. You pop the lid in there, and then you've got a curing agent and a resin. Give them a stir, and you're mixing those together in the tall tin to get a reaction. which then means it's when it goes on the floor, it then cures much harder, you know, and it's going to last 2-3 times longer than a single pack one, and also take heavier traffic. We do various types of epoxy resin floor coatings. We do water-based ones, which are low VOC, low smell, basically, and a bit more friendly, and also have good pot life, like an hour, 2-hour pot life, to get it on the floor, which is quite unique for an epoxy system. We also do solvent-based ones, as I mentioned before, for car parks, the outside areas, and that's a really hard-wearing UV resistant, which is the key point, external coating with an anti-slip finish. And because historically most epoxy resin systems you can't use outside because the sunlight will fade them. It won't break up, but it will change colour. Greys, for example, will go slightly green and khaki, whereas the Watco exterior solvent-based one, which is called heavy duty anti-slip traffic paint, that one won't. That will stay the same colour. And then the other one we have is the 100% epoxies, which is our toughest. So instead of it being a water-based or a solvent-based, it's 100% epoxy. So it's all the good stuff. So it doesn't, without getting too technical, it doesn't get thinner. It's when you put it down, it stays the same thickness as you put it down, whereas the water-based and solvent-based tend to thinner as the water or solvent disperses. That is all the good stuff. So you're getting a nice a thicker coating, basically, which is those two. Oh yeah, the last one was the polyaspartic, which was the it's very similar to epoxy in a lot of the aspects. In fact, it's two-part again, but it also benefits from some other points. Is the fact that it is also UV stable, so this one can be used inside or outside. And also quite unique is its ability to cure at lower temperatures. I think we market it as -10, but it'd actually go lower than that, down to, I think they tested it down to -20. So it's a very cold curing product. And the third real benefit of polyaspartic over epoxy is its flexibility. Epoxy resin coatings tend to be very rigid. So if you have any movement, vibrating machinery, anything like that, it tends to be a problem, whereas polyaspartics, they're quite flexible. So you could have it on a, for example, on a mezzanine floor, and it will move with it. So yeah, so there's some pictures of some of the range we've got of those. So we've got the concrete floor paint there in the top left, which I say that's the single pack polyurethane. Epoxy gloss coat, it's like our #1 bestseller. So that's the gloss version. Again, it does come in a matte version as well. If you prefer matte, it also comes in a anti-slip one, which is the one below, which is safety coat. And to the right there, you've got epoxy coat high build, which is the 100% solids one. That's the one I was saying, it doesn't thin out. That's the toughest one we do. And then lastly, at the bottom right there, you've got the heavy duty anti-slip paint, which is that. Sorry, that's the safety grip, that one. Yeah, so the safety grip is another 100% epoxy. So, but this one is more aimed at steps.
And just to add a point on that one, Scott, on the safety coats, a lot of anti-slip products, the aggregate is a lot heavier and denser than the actual liquid paint coating itself. The benefit of safety coat, you get an absolutely even finish across the surface without having to agitate the paint scuttle whilst applying the product. It uses a recycled plastic, which is actually the same density as the liquid, so it self-suspends once it's all been mixed together. So when you've got a light reflection on the surface, you haven't got patches of different grid areas, and it's an absolutely even finish and easy to clean as well.
Yeah, it takes that human element out of it. It just does the job for you. Yeah.
So just as a really quick recap, I can't believe it. We're actually dead on time of about 40 minutes, which is good going. So hopefully you're all still with us. So as both Scott and I have said, the preparation is absolutely key. Without that, there is a likelihood that the paint coating will fail. It won't necessarily fail very quickly, but you just won't have the longevity of the paint coating as well. And as far as cleaning and repairing the surface prior to painting is hugely beneficial as well. The industrial coatings, there's a huge number, even just within our range. They're all high performance coatings. They're all formulated ourselves, as I said, but the most important thing is just give us a call, drop us an email. We have live chat functions on the website. We've got an app that you can do video calls through. So there's a huge number of ways to be able to contact us. Just give us a call. Let's have a conversation about the type of work that you've got going on, and we can advise from there. So we've got a couple of questions that have come in throughout the last 40 minutes or so. So someone's asked, does one need a sealer for concrete before applying your paints? Got something on my mind. So it really depends on the type of concrete that you've got. If it's porous, a little trick, we always say maybe pour half a cup of water onto the surface. If it absorbs immediately, then yes, we would be looking at a sealer or a primer prior to that. If it does pool or sit on the top of the surface, it's more than likely going towards a parafloated or a very dense concrete surface. So either shot blasting, diamond grinding, some sort of mechanical abrasion, or we can have a look at the parafloat primer as well. Temperature is really important as well. So there's a couple of areas to consider before going down to.
I think it really depends on what top coat you're going to put down. You know, there's certain primers that we'd recommend for certain solutions of the top coat, if that makes sense. The only time we really use a sealer to bond the surface together to get around dusty latence issues is in areas where you can't put down the etch and clean product because it's got an acid in it. You don't want it near metal, things like that, because that can lead to rust problems down the line. So it could be that you've got metal in a certain area and you don't want to use the etch and clean. So the next best thing is a sealer in there just to bind it all together, to strengthen it up before you put a paint on. But yeah, normally we would go down the route of a primer necessarily over just one of our basic sealers, because they're going to do a better job.
Yeah, perfect. Another question, is flow top for external use? Yes is the short answer. It can be used outside. We don't market it as an external rescreening material. We want to try and stay away a little bit from domestic applications where they might not have experience of using these types of products. But if you've got confidence that the concrete surface has been prepared properly, i.e. all of the dust has been removed, any latents, etc., then yes, flow top can be used as a wearing external screed and take the heavy traffic as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, I think some of the apprehension as well is that changing temperatures in this crazy country we live in is, you know, not too hot, not too cold. You know, it can't be a day where it's suddenly going to get boiling in the middle of the day while you're applying it and things like that, because those sorts of things can have issues while it's curing. But obviously with indoors temperatures, that's not normally an issue. So just something to keep in mind. Yes, you know, yeah, absolutely, but maybe just pick your days when you're going to do it.
And then we've got a couple of questions that have been sent across when people have been registering as well. So I'll just read through these. Hopefully there'll be some interesting points for yourselves with the answers as well. So the first question, a more expensive, perhaps more complicated application versus a quicker and easier job. What are the pros and cons? I mean, as anything, if you do things quickly, not correctly, opting for a much cheaper version, it's not going to last as long. So longevity and preparation is the most important. Time to do the correct application is important, but we do have rapid set repair products, primers and top coats. So we have systems in place where you can potentially repair, prime and paint your surface in one long day for that side of it. So we have rapid set ones which are quicker, but it is all about the preparation. Even if you're repairing a concrete surface, a hole is just to remove any loose aggregate, the dust, etc., by brush or an industrial vacuum or something like that. But always call us for a solution. We'll generally always have something that we can offer. We get lots of repeated questions. We get lots of new questions as well. And as Scott and I've got plenty of years of experience between ourselves, we've obviously got other team members available as well, an in-house chemist as well. So if we then go into what's chemical resistance do you have against X, Y, or Z, we can certainly come back to you with a valid answer on that one.
So I'll do the next one. So with so many options to choose from when it comes to coatings and a wide range generally, what are the 3 things I should consider when selecting the right paint? And I think it's something we kind of touched on earlier. I mean, temperature, definitely. You know, a lot of the coatings, certainly all the water-based ones, really, you need sort of 15 degrees air temperature. I mean, typically a floor is around 5 degrees lower than current air temperature. So yeah, so that's something to keep in mind. Water-based, 15 degrees. So whereas you may have you know, a walk-in fridge and that sort of thing, so and it's -5. So absolutely temperature is key. Type of traffic, whether it's people walking on it, whether it's forklifts, whether it's cars, lorries, you know, again, would direct us to which customers' needs. And yeah, do you require an anti-slip finish? So really is whether it's going to be a smooth finish or an anti-slip. The benefits of having a smooth finish is very much it's easy to keep clean. So like commercial car garages, I normally recommend a smooth finish because obviously they're going to be mopping up any oils and spills and things like that on a daily basis, really. And they don't want something gritty because that's the downside to an anti-slip finish. The grit tends to hold dirt and things like that, and also if you're trying to mop it, it will snag on the grit. So it's just a real pain to keep clean. Obviously, the benefits of that is it's anti-slip, so people are less likely to fall on it, sort of thing. So they're the sort of pros and cons. So yeah, I mean, there's more than that, but those would be the three main ones.
We've got another question. With the thought of downtime and disruption often makes it easier to put things off. What suggestions do we have for limiting disruption? If it's a potential slip or trip, then you know, if it's anything to do with health and safety, then don't put it off. We have quick and simple solutions to get around. We mentioned flow patch earlier, for example, for repairing concrete, 2 hours, and it would be absolutely rock solid, able to take heavy traffic with absolute minimal mixing side of it. So you from sweeping out the hole to mixing it up to having forklifts back onto it, absolutely 2.5 hours to do all of that process. And then in regards to the paint side of things, as I said before, we got the systems where we can have it primed and coated, even with a 2-coat application of the top coat painting as well. We can have it done in a day with our fast coat systems. And then the other option, which we sometimes suggest as well, is to do the works within smaller sections at a time. So where you've got an expansion joint or a day joint, that's a good natural finish to be painting one slab or a couple of slabs at a time as well. So all of our products that are sent out are color matched and generally from larger batches. So if you've placed one order to do the whole works, but you're only doing it section by section, then there's no risk of the colors being different or anything like that at all.
So yeah, what's the easiest way to damp proof my floor? Are there any damp proofing products that are easy to use? So yeah, I mean, all of our products are designed to be easy to use. You know, we don't make people do qualifications or any training or anything like that. It really is, they're kind of designed that anybody can, with a bit of reading up on the data sheet and watching the videos that are on the website, can get their head around how to do that. It would be, really, well, again, going back to the preparation, really, that's the key thing, is to make sure that the floor is ready for when you putting that down. But yeah, with the main product we do for it is damp-proof membrane, which again, it's a 2-pack epoxy. In case of mixing it up, putting that down, the following day it's ready for a top coat. It's as simple as that. And I normally, if it's inside, normally go with the epoxy coat high build over that, which is just a 1-coat system, and that will be ready in 12 months. Straightforward. Is key. And the videos are on the website showing how to apply these.
And the last question that we had when we sent out the invites to this one was, how can I be sure I've selected the right product for the job? So the catalogues that we send out, the website that we have available, we believe our customer feedback has told us that it's correct, that they do guide you to the best solutions for that. But as I said before, just contact us and we can certainly talk through that. And the one rule, if you've chosen a Watco product, any of the Watco products, then we generally say that you're over halfway there of choosing the correct product anyway. If it's rapid set, cold set, any particular requirements that you need, just give us a shout. And we'll be able to go through that.
We've got one lot that's come in live. Watco waterproof to be reapplied to recoat a concrete swimming pool. Visual application blistered over the course of a year underwater. What prep and tools best to use?
Yeah, okay, if I pick some up.
Yeah.
So we've had some applications within swimming pools. One, to my knowledge, it may well be yourself that was talking to my colleague Mike about it, is that sometimes the chlorine or particular chemicals within the surface can react with the liquid waterproofer on there. Generally, it's air trapped within the substrate underneath that is reacting and creating those blisters. So excellent, yeah, confirmed it was Mike. So if the pool is obviously emptied out, dried as best as possible, the liquid waterproofer should be mixed up. You want a nice thick application on there as well, but prior to that, we're looking, we can send out some of the cleaners, the Bio-D or the Concroft as well, just to make sure that as much of that contaminants has been removed. Applying the thick coating onto it and then allowing it, I'd go with a number of days, so 5 to 7 days for it to absolutely fully cure before getting water back onto that surface. But if you want to give us a call, Mike has gone on to pastures new last couple of days or so, actually. So if you contact myself or Scott, then we can certainly pick that back up with you, no problems at all. Excellent. Okay, well, we'll just do a quick recap of that one. So there's a selection of the team there, obviously the better looking selection of the team there on the right hand side, because it includes myself and Scott, but we've got a number of others that you may well have spoken to, Millie and Lucy, for example. So all of our technical sales side of the team have got good experience and have mixed up a majority of the products themselves, so I've got first-hand of experience of how to mix these up, how to apply them, but please do just do contact us, and we will absolutely give you the best advice that we believe is the correct options for you guys. And hope you have had a little bit of new knowledge given to you, or maybe sparked some questions, but thanks for your time, and we'll look forward to speaking to you in the future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.